Okay, here we are on the other side of that bulkhead. I'll back up a little bit again so you can see that same porthole that's on the port side of the aft little stateroom. There's the hatch going down below. We're looking forward. This is a little utility space between that sleeping area, that little salon compartment, and the port side. We've got the sewage tank, sewer pumps in front of that, water heater, freshwater pump, lines for the scuppers. And the scuppers are well tight. We checked all that. The scuppers do not seem to be leaking. The scuppers are all tight. They're a little loose. I'm going to run some water in here and see. It could be that they need to be rebedded. Because they are loose within the fiberglass itself and the deck. But the hoses all seem tight. There's no sign of leakage there. It may have been leaking around these flanges. We're going to rebed those in to be sure. That catches any runoff when the boat's washed down, any spray, of course. When the hatch is in place, the water would run into this trough, into the scupper, and out the side. However, within the compartment itself, I'll rotate a little bit here, along the side of all the equipment, you see the hoses come back to this corner. This is a bulkhead. This is a bulkhead separating the engine room where I'm standing, and this compartment. This is the bulkhead separating the salon where we saw the freshwater hoses going through and coming out the side. So you've got the freshwater vent line, the freshwater vent, the freshwater fill, and then the pump pickup. And there's one small cable bundle for the sensors for the water level. And so you can see in this compartment, there's a little sump built in the corner to allow these hoses to get below the level of the furniture, the cushions, and the bed in that compartment. So it makes like a little sump area. Any water in this compartment is going to fill that corner up first because it's the lowest part of the compartment and it's aft. So everything runs aft. There's always a natural slope towards the stern anyway. We get it up running. It's going to get up on plane. It's going to definitely run back here. It's very hard to see even without the camera. It's very hard to see even without the camera. With the camera, I'm sure it's not going to come out real clear. There's definitely a lot of debris down there, and somebody had siliconed it. But as I said, you're siliconing the outside. You're siliconing the outside of the chafe rings, the chafe tubes. So there's going to be a gap between the tube and the inner hose. And most of these are split looms, so there's a split up the side of the loom. So the silicone basically does nothing but keep the bundle from moving around. It's not going to prevent any liquids from passing through that bulkhead. I might even do that. I might put a through hull fitting here. I might put 3 through hulls, and actually put 3 watertight fittings, and put a stuffing tube in there for the wire bundle. I might just do that. Put a couple of 90s in here, go straight down with these hoses, and come out in the other compartment at a 90 degree, and then put a short pipe into the tanks. That would definitely prevent any water from getting past this bulkhead in the future, regardless of why the water gets in here. So the engine room side of it, you can see that bulkhead goes almost all the way up to the top. There's very little bit of gap at the top to allow some cables and such to go over. But that's the bulkhead. That's the back of that same area. This is what we're hoping. Again, this deck is not the bottom of the boat. This is a small deck. There's a void underneath. Let's see if I can emphasize that for you. Yeah, looking forward from the engine, you can see there's the bottom of the hull. And then this is a step up where the batteries are and where I'm standing. It steps up to a deck. And then to that bulkhead. So I'm certainly hoping that this plywood is not directly connected with this plywood, where moisture would have gone from here and continued into here. But this is another area that has those same cracks. And they did not put enough fiberglass, and this decking has just got a lot of plastic epoxy resin over it, poured over it to make it look nice and smooth and clean, but there's not enough glass to give it strength, and it has cracked and it's peeling up here. It's delaminating. So let me get my knife out. So fortunately that seems solid. The wood, there's no water has gotten in here. But it's the same idea how that cracked horizontally in the other compartment allowed water to get to the plywood and soak the plywood. You know, had the water not been in the compartment, it wouldn't have mattered that that crack was there, but the combination of the two led to the plywood rotting out. So here we go.